Bowling with the Fef.
I encourage you to get fast.
Your bowling stories.
For all things, the game of bowling.
Every week.
Helping bowlers.
The hand collapses down.
Live.
And I'm going to try to bowl the best I can.
2,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers.
I want to challenge Chad Nelson.
Tom Corbett.
Jason Belmonte.
Let's do this. This is Bowling with the Fef.
Well, good Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bowling with the Fef, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story live on our YouTube channel. And we have a unique one tonight, that's for sure. Can't wait to get this guest on the live stream. He's already chatting it up here. He says, "Hey guys," so yeah, if you want to hit him up in the chat before we bring him out, he's good to go, it seems like. But let's start out with this. Ethan Fiore averaging north of 231 in today's PTQ to take the top spot in the 7-game event at the PBA Pete Weber Missouri Classic. 48 bowlers competed for 7 spots. Here are those top 7 guys. And Tim Grundler was the cut at plus 81. Ildemaro Ruiz Jr. missing qualifying for the main field by just 2 pins. The tournament starts in earnest tomorrow, wraps up with a 5-person stepladder on Sunday. It is on FS1 at noon, Wisconsin time. Looking forward to that. A 3rd champion for the season as Santu Tavanainen breaks through for his first tour title at the Illinois Classic on Saturday night. He defeated Chris Vai 186-155 in the championship match, made $30,000 for first, and a first-time titleist on the tour for the first time in 2025. Hey, look at this tournament live stream coming up a week from Saturday at Bullwinkle's in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. That's where the top 8 all-event scores from the Eau Claire area USBC Association tournament will compete in an eliminator-style finals. We've never done this before. It's brand new. It'll be streamed live on the channel starting at 10 a.m. Wisconsin time, and should be a lot of fun. Hope you'll all join us. It'll certainly be interesting if I end up making the top 8. I'm bowling in the regular tournament this weekend, so we'll see what happens there. Hey, we do have a merch store at etsy.com/shop/bowlingwiththefef. Pick out your favorite shirt, t-shirt, or hoodie. It is a good time of year to get stocked up with hoodies, and these are great quality warm hoodies at the Bowling with the Fef merch store. Also, our sponsors, Jerry's Score More Bowling Supply inside Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Call them up, 715-559-1822. He will get you hooked up with any type of bowling ball, bowling accessory, coaching, you name it. If it has to do with bowling, Jerry's got it, and he can get it to you. Jerry's Score More Bowling Supply. Visionary Video Hub, video with impact, plus live streaming, voiceover, and podcasting. You can find out more at visionaryvideohub.com. And
Handmade salsa is great, but it's such a hassle. Cutting yourself, the constant waiting, burning yourself. Oh, look at that mess. Raise your snack standards. Chip Magnet Salsa.
don't make it yourself. Buy it. Chip Magnet Salsa. And you can get Chip Magnet at a special rate here. If you're interested and in the market for a 6-pack order, type in this promo code at the checkout, BWTF2025. You'll get 25% off of your purchase. Only on chipmagnetsalsa.com. You can also get it on Amazon too. Just search for the Chip Magnet store and stock up. Chip Magnet, raise your snack standards. And a big fat thank you to Chip Magnet Salsa for supporting local bowling and Bowling with the Fef. Well, tonight's guest is taking a big freaking step in his content creation journey. At the beginning of the year, Patrick Martinez announced that he was starting a new business called The Cloud Media Productions. And he's got some fancy logos here that look really good, if I do say so myself. He said that he would still be involved with BowlTV, but that he would step away from upcoming events to grow this thing. And if you've seen Pat's work on BowlTV and in other places online, you know that this is quality stuff. And he is here in an episode that we are calling Cloud Level to discuss all things cloud media Productions. Patrick, it is great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again. This is our second run. I can't remember what episode I was on last, but
You know, I because it wasn't live, I didn't really
like
label
number it. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
number
That's
it
fair.
as an
I was
episode.
a special occasion.
It was a special occasion.
It was
And it was
last year in Minnesota.
Yep, Cedarville Lanes for the 2024 Twin Cities Open. And yeah, that was a great conversation. I would encourage everyone to, go back and check it out
Absolutely.
in replay. But now we're at kind of a new frontier. Really
A lot
for
has
both of
happened.
us.
A lot
Yeah.
has happened.
A lot has happened. So let's kind of get this part out of the way. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure there are a lot of people saying, "Oh my gosh, Pfeffer, you just started a video production company.
Yep.
He's in a video production company.
Yep.
What's this?" Well, let me tell you, I've mapped this out so that it is crystal clear. Actually, as clear as the lines that I could draw on this map here.
Wait, hold up. I don't know geography like this.
Okay, so
I need New York.
you need New York. Okay, we can negotiate that.
Okay.
But so Visionary Video Hub to the north and the Cloud Media Productions to the south. Now,
I'm okay with this.
if you're looking at my logo to the right, you see that little dot.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't leave Ben out, because he's got his own. So
Yeah, he has Wisconsin. He can keep Wisconsin.
well, no, that's just Wausau.
Oh, that's just one. Okay, so he just gets that one city.
That's
okay.
just his hometown.
Okay, yeah. He can take his one spot.
He's not here to defend himself, so I figured we could have a little fun at his expense. Larry says, "What's up, Patrick, bro? The Cloud."
How's it going, Larry? How's it going? Welcome in. Welcome in.
Yeah. So get us up to speed. I mean, that's a big step for anybody. I can tell you from experience, it's a big step and it's nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah.
But the last time we talked to you, you had moved out of an apartment. You were kind of on the road. You were going to these events, and now it's kind of different.
Shifted. Yeah. So let's roll back to moving out of my apartment. Number one, I live once again in Dallas, Texas with my family. They've lived here for years. I lived here for years with them. I left to go to New Orleans for a while to work for Jeff McCorby and McCorby's Bowling World, which is now known as Bowling World. And then in 2023, at the very beginning of the year, Mike Flanagan called me. He had an offer for me to go on BowlTV, which is what I did, obviously, from 2023 all year round. Basically, I was on the road, I believe, 11 months almost in total in 2023, not including the days off in between.
Okay. It'll look like this, right?
Yep, look sort of like this. So this is from 2024 at that Twin Cities Open event, which was the kickoff event for the 2024 season. Right. And then came this past year. I worked a little bit less at the front end of the year just to be home a little bit more with my family. I also just needed a little bit more of a stretch on what I was doing. I was working quite a bit. So I just needed to be able to breathe a little bit more. That's when I started realizing I had to kind of start thinking about myself. You can see me here, just going through files, looking at scores. I'm doing a little bit of everything here.
Yeah.
And I basically just told myself I need to start thinking about myself in every single possible way, because I have put in my time. It's time consuming. It's tiring. The hours are not very easy. So I slowly but surely started backing down of how many events I did at the front end of the year. The guys do really well in the men's tour. And I think that they have a well enough team to be able to handle that. And now when it came to the women's tour, I obviously worked, I believe, 90% of the women's. So I missed the Nashville series only because I had a prior engagement here locally for an event that I wanted to attend as just a spectator. I literally just came out for a gaming event. I wanted a day off or a week off. And it just happened to work out just well right there. And then we got through the end of the season, and I was getting to US Open, Tour Championships, and all of that. And we also have Junior Gold mixed in with that at the very end of the season. So it's a little bit of a busier portion of the year for us, no matter how you look at it, because we have to go, I believe, a major, then we go Junior Gold, then we go to Tour Championships. So it's just a lot to handle at the very end of the season. The body was feeling it. We didn't really have a lot of time at home, quote unquote. So I basically started realizing that I wanted to start doing something outside of bowling after the season ended. And then I was looking at the schedule and seeing what I want to pick up, and there was really just not anything that really popped into my eye of what I wanted to work towards the end of the year. And that's when I started making the conversation topic in my brain of, do I want to take some time away from BowlTV to focus on myself and focus on maybe building something outside of bowling? And on top of that, the schedule was really scarce for the end of the year because we weren't doing collegiate events anymore. So we just had too little amount of events, plus such a large group now that BowlTV has grown into this big group of people. And I wouldn't even just call it a group of people. We're more like family. We spend literally 20 plus hours a day together. So like we're eating together. Sometimes we're watching each other take naps. Sometimes we're making sure one of us is drinking water, etc. We're family. So we always take care of each other. And I finally said, okay, I think I'm going to take the break. My final event of last year was the Pan Am Championships out in Reno. Very long week, very crazy week, a lot of great bowling. Obviously, Team USA took quite a bit of gold medals in that event, and so did a lot of other countries, which was a really nice way, I think, to cap off my year with BowlTV last year. And then from that point forward, I started outsourcing some of my work to other creators in the space. I've done some work with Creating the Difference, and I've started helping them edit their ball reviews here in the last year or so. I've also started working with the House Bowling. I do a lot of their rough cuts for their videos. That way it eases their process of getting videos put together. I've also created a couple vlogs for them. Here recently, a lot of people saw whenever I announced my company that I was in Reno. The Reno trip to team trials this year was a little bit of a surprise for everybody because I had just announced that I started my company. And then Jesse texted me the day before I announced that that they would want me in Reno to film some content. So I put together that trip. We got out there. I announced my company. Everybody was like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, I wasn't planning on being here until like a few days ago. Like there was no plan until like maybe 4 or 5 days before this trip. Spent the time in Reno, helped him with that. Prior to that, there was a vlog that he did for the Championship Bowling Tour Masters event last year. I edited that vlog actually for them, which has been a great honor. Jesse's a really big creative when it comes to bowling, and he understands bowling, but he also works in other aspects of video that allow him to be really, really good at what he does in the bowling scene. And then it was just a matter of proper branding, proper logo. I knew I wanted to do something with the cloud. Everybody had called me the cloud for so long. I went from the black cloud to the cloud. I kind of took that shift. I was like, I'm going to call myself just the cloud because I feel like I do a lot more than just being a black cloud. I film a lot of great moments. I've seen a lot of people win titles. I've seen a lot of people cry on stage. I've seen Ryan Barnes make his first TV show. There's just a plethora of things, right? So I don't want to call myself the black cloud because it was just one of those things where I've seen more than just bad. Like I haven't just filmed people fail at 300s over and over again. I haven't done the patty cam at that level all the time, right? I've also recorded a lot of great moments. I've caught in a lot of sentimental moments. There's some sentimental moments that I've never put in work because I've just sent it directly to people. And the sense of, this is your moment. I don't think I want to use this. Which is something that I was really good about whenever I was on BowlTV, is that if there's something that I captured that was just like more of a personal moment, you're going to see that moment again and again and again because I'm going to send it to you. And then, yeah, that's how the whole concept, as you saw with the logo and the branding, here at the bottom of the screen, yeah, you can see both the different logos. So the cloud media productions really came about with the idea of like the camera and the cloud being one, because the idea is eventually I'll work live events with different aspects of every industry. And I want to be able to have a small team that I basically, as I'm shooting stuff, it immediately transfers over into an iPad or a laptop instantly. And then we can upload footage immediately to social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and it's something that I'm building up. There's a few pieces of tech that I have to kind of put together to be able to make that happen, kind of like the patty cam itself, and then you have the more simplistic, the cloud logo, which I wanted to have for a little bit more of like the lifestyle of what the cloud really encompasses, which is just like enjoying things and living life at the higher level, right? So that's kind of the explanation. Big shout out to Isabel Hughes, by the way, on all these designs, including the watermark in the background that you see here. She was great. She spent, I think, roughly a month designing everything, and like we went back and forth a lot. It was between like fonts and in between how I wanted this stuff to look. We just straight up were just going back and forth on everything, which is good. I love Isabel. She's probably one of the best designers that I've met here in the last few years, and she's worked on multiple pieces of my like gear. So like I made some jerseys last year with Zello Gear, my apparel sponsor here in bowling, who I'm also doing work for in the bowling scene when it comes to video work. If you guys saw Packy's announcement, that was me. If you guys saw Brianna Clemmer's announcement, that was me. And simply put, she's great. She designs jerseys for me. She obviously designed all my branding. And she's also working with me as I build this company to be able to help other people design things that they might need, whether it's shirts, flyers, stuff of that nature. I basically have like a price guide from her, and I outsource her to other people. That way she can gain more business and I can help people grow as I do this. It's about growing everybody. If I just want to learn and grow by myself, I would just do it. But I've realized in the last couple of years that everything takes a team effort, and having the right people on your team is always necessary.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you had been working with Isabel before all this, and
Yes.
I had Nolan on the show before he took on the role he's in now with the PBA, and he had mentioned that Isabel was a collegiate player. She loves The Office.
Yes.
Is she a pro now? Is she a professional graphic designer? Is she done with school?
She is done with school. I know that she's working for a company. I don't know if she's working in graphic design for a company, but I do know that she herself does freelance all of her design work. So if you guys wanted to contact her on social media, I believe she's on Facebook, on Instagram. You guys can contact her and basically reach out and saying, hey, Patrick mentioned that you do some graphic design work. I'm looking to create XYZ. Could you help me out? And 99% of the time, her answer is yes. I don't think I've sent her a request so far that she hasn't been able to fulfill. But again, it's reach out to her. She's great. Honestly, super creative person, and is like really big into taking criticism and building it back into the work. So she's super, super useful when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's good. Now, you needed to do for yourself, which I think a lot of us who take this step, that's at least part of what we kind of factor into this or consider before we take the leap. Tell me about was there anything else that you considered? What was it like before the day that you decided, yep, I'm doing it?
That's a great question. The first thing that I actually did was I got a normal job.
Okay.
I do work a day job with a gentleman called Alan Riley here in DFW. I actually used to work for him while I worked for Dino Castillo here in DFW. He basically runs an IT company called Centricomp. And what we do is we provide IT needs for people in the local DFW area. We also have a couple clients outside of Dallas and outside of Texas, but it's mostly local-based people. I work at mostly remotely. There's a few times of the month that I'll have to go on site and see clients. But that was my first thing. It was, let me find something steady, something that I know will bring me in something. That way I don't have to think about it so much. Alan is a great person. He literally saw my bowling career start. He's in bowling as well. So he saw my bowling career start. He knows that I'm a good kid. He knows that I put my mind to everything that I do, whether it's bowling or not. And I'm a big nerd. Like, if I could show you this direction of what's happening, you guys are standing on a monitor. There's 2 more monitors over here. There's another monitor over here. I have a wall-mounted computer. I have a computer behind a couple of the monitors. There's a laptop sitting right here. And I also have a server somewhere in this room. So big nerd. I'm really good with tech. So I was like, I can probably help, especially if everything is mostly remote, which is 99% of our requests. So I take care of, somebody's printer goes out or something stops working on a software. I just jump in, I fix it, send them off for the day, and then they can come back at any time. So that was my first step, was let me find something steady. I just need to have like the peace and the mentality of I can sit at home, I can do work, I don't have to stress, I don't have to think about I have to be here and then there and then do this and do that. It's as simple as it comes in, I take care of it, I'm done. And then at that point, I can also focus on making content while I'm here at home. which was when the 122-day challenge came around, which a lot of people saw me stop at one point, and it was because of the fact that I started picking up all the different customers in the video production stuff. So I started editing videos for Packy. I started editing videos for Ron Hicklin at CTD. Also the Hype Bowling with Charles Hutcherson, a couple videos for Darren here and there, and so on. And I told myself the reason why I started that challenge was to push myself creatively, but it's also to be able to find people that needed work done. So as soon as I became busy enough, I stopped doing the challenge because it was taking too much time out of each day, because I was filming each one every single day and then editing them on the same day. So if one of you saw a video on day 70, it was filmed on day 69. Then 69 was filmed on 68, and so on and so forth. It was always fresh content. I didn't reuse anything old. I think I reused 2 pieces of old content, which weren't really like old content. It was content that I filmed over the summer while I traveled with a few people during the women's tour. And we had like stopped into Dallas for a little bit to visit here. We had stopped into Denver for Bowl Expo. So I used a couple pieces of those things that I filmed that I never did really anything with. And then after that, it was just making the decision if I wanted to start a video production company that focused solely on just selling all of my video needs. So am I filming it? Am I editing it? Am I doing all of it together? And I realized that I didn't want to just do it to where it was, you can only have one piece of me, in the sense of like, if you want me, you have to have me for the entire thing. And then that would involve, again, more travel, more going away from the family, more putting in more restless time into it. And I just realized that I also wanted to do something that would help me better myself. And not just in the work, but in my own personal health related ways, right? Big toll that everybody takes with traveling so much is we get sick often. We don't eat the healthiest, and we don't have a lot of time for like workouts, stuff of that nature. If you want to highlight this last comment, JG.
Yeah.
JG is Jordan Gamboa.
Okay.
He is actually, I met him at the gym whenever I started working out. And he was the person that I took on for my personal training. Him and his girlfriend have been super nice. And me and him became just really good friends. He's a DJ here in the local area, which we'll get into that conversation here in a little bit, obviously. And they've been just absolutely phenomenal. They're basically like family. They live down about 15 minutes down the road from me. And they've been great. They hang out with me. We went to a Mavs game right after I came back from Reno from team trials. It's been a great time. They've been amazing to me, and I love them with all my heart. So big thank you to you guys.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that whatever I did, I was able to balance out life. So now I have a little bit more of a routine. I wake up, I work my day job, and as I work my day job, I'm editing content all day as well. Then I will go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week. Here recently, it's been a little bit less just because I've taken on some other things. Again, as I mentioned, we'll get into that one here in a bit. And the video needs that I'm selling, it comes down to everything. Anything that's going on will be per the request. And if you need me somewhere, it's like I'm scheduling it months in advance. So I have a couple of tournaments that have asked me if I could be in places. I've had a couple of people that asked me if I can come film stuff. And I basically made it a rule that if you can't book me 2 months out with a deposit, I will not make it there. So I'm not taking like the last minute request of you call me a few days in advance and want me somewhere, because I want to have the boundary of like, this is my business. And I also have my own personal life. And I have family. Like I literally live with my brother, sister, my mom, my dad. My brother lives directly above me. He actually makes music. So like we had to have the conversation about this interview. And I was like, hey, don't make music for the next hour.
Right.
And he was like, I got you. And he has the same rule with me. Like if he's making music, I don't go into his room. I don't come bug him. I wait until I know that he's like done creating music. My sister's a theater kid. She does all these productions that are like related to the NCTPA, along with like all these big companies. So like Disney funds a couple of these events, and there's a lot. She actually I think she just auditioned for Disney at one point in the last few months. Huge. She just spent like a week or two in Atlanta. It's been a very, very crazy year when it comes down to it. My mom is an event coordinator. My dad is a photographer along with having his like regular day job, which is being a like IT person for a big electric company. Which is why I picked up a camera. Actually, he's a photographer, and I just always saw cameras. So I took that and brought it into my own life, which I feel like was just bound to happen at one point. So just the reason that I went with starting the company was I want to be able to control what happens in my environment. I don't want to be able to be told you're going to be here in 2 days. I just didn't want it. It becomes an issue when it comes down to balancing your life and balancing your work. So at this point, I do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. Yeah. Whether it's, I want to go shoot a video tonight, I'll go shoot a video tonight. If I want to go and have fun with my friends, I'll go have fun with my friends. If I want to go to a basketball game, go to a hockey game, go to see my friends, go see my aunt and my uncle who have 2 babies, one of them that's a brand newborn, less than 6 months old, and one that's 3 to 4 years old. I can do all those things instead of it being like Patrick is stuck in a bowling center for 24 hours of the day for 7 days of the week. And it's not that I don't appreciate bowling anymore. It's that I think we're about 12 years in now in bowling from my start. And you've heard that story before. Started really young, been going at it for years. I was the young kid that got into it. Nobody really believed. And I just kept working at it and working my way up in the industry. I went off, did big things with Bowling World, and obviously the content creation portion brought me to a different level of bowling. But I just need to have a separation from bowling, which is not a bad thing. I feel like everybody needs to have like their portion of life that's not stuck to bowling, and then the portion of life that's stuck to bowling. I have plenty of great friends, plenty of great family that I've created through bowling. And they all know, and those people all know and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I put in my time. I think I could say that at this point. I feel like if you put in a decade or more, you can easily tell somebody, I have put in my time in bowling.
Sure. I remember back when, I spent 16 years in local news, and I did all the things. And I remember during a stretch when I was anchoring sports, I asked the anchor of news at the time, did you ever consider doing sports? Because he was like really into a football game that happened, at that moment. And he said, no, because I don't want to blur the line between entertainment and work. Sports is entertainment for me. Yeah. It's not work, and I don't want it to feel like work. And that really made me think, especially when you talk about something we love as much as we love bowling. Yeah. It's got to be fun. Right? You got to have joy in it. Otherwise, it becomes work. And then it's like, uh-oh, Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I've learned to appreciate a little bit more. So now whenever I spend time in bowling, and Reno's probably like the best example outside of like the NCAA event that was just at the ITRC, which I attended just to see a couple familiar faces, take some video and pictures there. Basically, I went to Reno and I hadn't seen anyone in the bowling scene in person for 6 months, roughly.
And this is team trials you're talking about.
Yeah, team trials. So I would say not even 6 months. It's probably like 3-4 months without seeing anyone. Like, didn't see any of the people that bowled team trials for at least 3 months. And it was really emotional because a lot of them didn't come up to me and said, can you come film me? Can you get me a video? This and the other. They came up, and these are the people that I really appreciate in bowling. They came up, said hello, congratulated me for starting my business, and asked what I was doing in town, and asked if they could have lunch with me or dinner with me, or like, let's hang out at one point this week. It's just really mind-blowing because I think people realize that it's not all about holding the camera. It's not all about bowling. It doesn't all have to be about it. Which is something that I've always found really difficult to do myself, is find the separation from bowling. And it's something that I think is just like part of my obsessiveness with what I do, because I put in my heart and soul into everything I do. Whether it comes to the gear, whether it comes to the amount of time I put in, whether it comes to the amount of time I put in behind the scenes, I give everything as much as I possibly can. And I think now that I've learned and realized that like I have to have the separation, and I have to have a level of like, this is my time. It's become easier and it's become better. And again, you have to have it. So like, bowling was fun for many, many years. It's become boring, but not in the sense of like in a negative denomination. It's more so you can only spend so much time in a bowling center without seeing the same thing twice. Like you're gonna see the same people strike just as much. Like you're gonna see EJ win a few more times this year, and you're gonna see maybe Santu win a couple more times. You're probably gonna see Crystal Elliott win a title at one point in the next couple years. You're gonna see Anthony Simonson win another major. You're gonna see all these different things, and they're gonna happen again and again and again until this generation of bowling retires, which isn't for a very long time. If we haven't noticed, our generation of bowling right now is very, very, very young. And we only are introducing younger names. Theo Bernard. I mean, he's like 22 years old and he has a national title at the World Series of Bowling. I don't think that breaks the record, but he might be one of the youngest to ever get a title at the World Series.
Could be.
And I mean, somebody will probably confirm it later, and I'll get that text at one point or another. But you know, we're to the point where there's only so much that we can see in bowling. Obviously, this year the storylines are a little bit more crazy because the PBA did the tour trials, and tour trials brought some names that we hadn't seen before. You also have probably two of the best rookies that the PBA will ever see between Cam Crow and Ryan Barnes. They're currently fighting for that Rookie of the Year race, which I think currently Ryan is up by a couple thousand points, but Cam is fueled up. I've been talking to Cam quite a bit lately. He's ready to make sure that he can take over that Rookie of the Year race before the end of the year. He said he's excited about going to Reno. He also just moved recently to Dallas, so he's going to be living here with, I believe, Kevin Williams and Kevin Williams' roommate, which is super fun. I'll get to spend some time with them. We're already talking about making some content over the summer if I'm not out on the road with BowlTV, which, again, I'm still not sure of because, one, those schedules don't come out for a while when it comes to our side of things. Secondly, I don't know if I'm going to do a full tour season. And if I do, great. But I don't think I will. I think I will probably do like a partial thing where I cover the bigger events. Maybe whenever the schedule doesn't allow for other people to be at other events, I'll try to cover some of those. But I'm going to just try to play it by what do I have going on here in town, which is quite a bit currently.
Yeah, which is great.
Yes.
And Larry says, you know, Patrick is one of the hardest working guys out there, which
I appreciate that.
You just described, but you know, that can be a good thing. And like you said, maybe not the best thing at all times.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
Yeah, he says you're a friend no matter what you do. Bowling is just how we met. Always wishing the best for you.
Thank you, Larry.
And he wants to know, is it drum music?
Is it drum music? No. One of his friends is a drummer. He is just like me. He saw me playing the guitar whenever I was younger, and he wanted to learn how to play the guitar. So now he's playing the guitar. He plays a little bit piano. He's also a vocalist, so he sings, and he produces music. He also went to school for commercial music. He has his degree in that, and I think he's going to go back at one point for a master's in another music field. He's not entirely sure just yet, but he basically plays the guitar, sings, writes songs, and I think that's the direction he wants to go in, is writing songs for a living, which full support for me. I told him, I was like, you have a video guy, you have a photo guy. I don't think you really can go wrong. And if at this point you do anything wrong, it's you stop making music. So, but yeah, no, he basically spends half of his day upstairs shredding at a guitar, practicing and getting better. He actually was just in the kitchen before we started this, and he was like picking at his thumb, and I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, I think I messed up my thumb playing the guitar. I was like, let me see it. It's just like a big gouge right at the tip of his thumb. And I'm like, okay, so this is where you take a break for the next few hours, or play with a pick for a couple hours, bare minimum. So yeah.
So let's get into some of the stuff that you do, because you talked about kind of wanting to have the full gamut of not only availability, but of services and things like that. One of the things that I needed to do before starting my thing up was acquire the gear.
Yes.
You've got the gear.
Yes.
Have you always had the gear? I mean, is it a deal where when you work for BowlTV, you're essentially shooting on what you bring with BYOC or
Yeah, so as BowlTV, and this is the part that is always fun to explain to people. At BowlTV, we're all contractors. So none of us are an employee of the USBC or BowlTV. We're all contractors. I think the only person that currently is an employee of BowlTV that is also on the road with us is Chase Kaufman. He got hired on. We did like an interview process, and like they didn't mention this as an interview process, but everybody got kind of a conversation of like what's going on and like how do you think we could improve. And Chase was chosen as the person that would be the second in command, like basically the bridge between us and USBC. So he handles a lot of our affairs now, and it's been super nice. Chase is one of us, so he understands what it's like to be on the road 24/7. He understands what we need. He understands all the different complications we can run into. And he is the most well-rounded person. He's probably the best producer we have. He's taught me everything that I know when it comes to producing the live shows. And he's just all in all a great person. He gets along with everybody that he's ever met. I don't think I've actually ever met anybody that doesn't like Chase. I mean, and that's everywhere. Like, I could be in another state and somebody could be like, "Hey, do you know Chase Kaufman?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. Why?" I'm like, "Oh, just let him know that I say hi. He's super nice every single time I see him." So yeah, so like we're all contractors, so we're all dependent on whatever gear we have.
Gotcha.
My gear list, oh boy. You saw me with like the small portion of what I have now because I've done some purchases and I've done some upgrading. And my dad obviously is a photographer, so being back home, I'm allowed to use some of his gear, which gives me a lot of an upper leg when it comes to having things on hand.
Sure.
So basically, I started off with a phone, and I think I actually still have that phone. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it somewhere in here. It all started with this phone right here. This is what started the TikTok page back in 2020.
So that'll end up in a museum someday.
Yeah, I'm actually taking this to a tech guy that takes apart phones and then he puts them in a shadow box for you.
Oh.
Kind of like those iPhone shadow boxes that some people may have seen on the internet. But this is the phone right here.
Okay.
It's a Samsung Galaxy S10. This is what started all of my content creation journey.
Wow.
And this phone is really special to me because we came out of COVID and I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the shop. I thought that I was going to be jobless for a while. And I, in theory, was. McCorby's did really well at taking care of their employees, and they applied for all the proper loans and made sure everything was taken care of on that accord. But I honestly thought that I was going to be out of a job. I just moved to New Orleans before the pandemic happened, and I thought I was going to be completely out of luck. He gives me a call. He's like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I just moved here. I just signed a lease, so I would really like to stay and see if we reopen before my lease is up." And he was like, "Okay, we're going to take care of your bills. We're going to make sure that you can eat. We're going to make sure that you're good. Let's just figure out what we need to do." And he took care of me the whole entire way through. We came back in, and it was a little bit of a rocky start because nobody in New Orleans really wanted to come out. The demographic there is really old. And when I say really old, like my general customer base was in their 40s to 50s, and most of that being like in the late 40s going into 50s, which was terrifying because nobody wanted to come outside, nobody wanted to go bowling, everybody was afraid about getting sick, and super understanding. Sure. So what I did was TikTok had just really like started building up and being this big thing, and I decided, well, let me make a few TikTok videos. It's not going to hurt. I can just like film a couple things in the shop, talk about bowling balls. It's already part of like what my contract agreement with Brunswick and Columbia 300 is. So like in theory, this is something that I probably should do anyways. Yeah. Why not? So we went in, I filmed the first few and I was like, okay, they're getting like 1,000 views, 2,000 views. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Actually, like 2,000 people just watched bowling videos. Like I opened the shop on one of my first videos. And then I talked about a bowling ball and another, and like just did like all these silly things with bowling. And then we get about 10 to 15 videos in, and I can't remember exactly which is the video, but I'll make sure I send it to you. That way you can link it down below. But one of these videos hits like 1.8 million views. I posted it late at night, and I wake up the next morning, and my phone has like a wall of notifications. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, I probably got my account hacked. Somebody's like destroying my account. Wrong. 1.8 million views in less than 18 hours or less than 12 hours, because I had like posted at like I think 10 o'clock at night and woke up the next morning at like 10 a.m.
Wow.
And it's like 1.8 million views, a bunch of comments, a bunch of likes. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can think in that moment was, just like I am obsessive about following through on things, I was like, we're going to keep posting. So I posted every single day, over and over and over again. And those views kept adding up over and over and over again. We got to the point where I was looking at my analytics and I'm like, I have 100 million views in a month and a half, or maybe 2 months. And then as we kept that going, I kind of started realizing, okay, what can we do next? So we went from this phone here to the iPhone 14, which was like the upgrade because the camera was better and so on and so forth. A lot of people were like, well, why do you want to go to iPhone? You're just following the hype. And I'm like, yeah, but like I'm making content for a living and now I'm making money off of it. So I need to start investing some of this money so I can just actually do something with it instead of it just being like the extra fluff in the pocket, which is always nice to have the extra fluff. But I'm a big invest into what you're doing. So we went into the iPhone after I think about 6 months of being on the iPhone. About 3 months in, I was starting to do the YouTube series for Bowling World, which was called Shop Life with Patrick. It was super popular. I did 11 episodes in a row. Then we took a little break. And then whenever we came back, we did, I believe, Bowl Expo, which was the next big set of vlogs that we did. Those did really, really well, surprisingly well. But they were a lot of work because I was basically filming all day. And we were out from like 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. I would get back to my hotel room. I would plug in my SD card. I would dump everything out. I would upload it to Ryan McCorvey, who is Jeff McCorvey's son, who is their media person. And he would edit the video, post it the next morning. So this was like within 13 hours, he's receiving footage, editing the footage, posting the footage, which was big because nobody was doing that in the bowling space. Nobody was posting a vlog from the day previous anywhere in the bowling space yet. So we did that. That went really well, got a lot of recognition. A lot of the brands were really happy about it. And that's when the whole Patrick doing bowling ball reviews thing really took off because I was doing bowling ball reviews already for Bowling World. But then at this point, Brunswick was like, okay, we want to make sure that you have everything you need. So every release, everything, no questions asked. You ask for it, we'll get it to you. Super, super grateful for Brunswick. They've been super nice, especially in this last couple of years where I've really not done anything in the space of selling bowling balls. And same thing goes with all of my sponsors. They've all still had me on staff. They're all still taking care of me whenever I need something. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And then whenever we got 6 months into the YouTube channel, we went ahead and purchased the first camera, which is the Nikon Z50. I actually don't have that camera anymore. I sold it to another fellow YouTuber, Theo Johnson, who is from the Real Experience Ball Reviews, because he needed a second camera. And I knew that I wasn't going to be using that camera any longer. So I sold it to him sometime in the end of 23. I think it was around the time that we're at Bayside Bowl for the league.
Okay.
So I sold it off to him, and now I'm running on a Nikon Z6 II. Oh, no, sorry, on a Nikon Z6. But while I'm here locally, I actually film with a Nikon Z9, a Nikon Z6 II. We have a few different lenses. We have all the lights I could possibly think of, flashes, everything. My dad and I have a really good arsenal of a bunch of different gear. We have a few drones. We have a bunch of light stands, a bunch of backdrops. So we basically have like a whole entire studio here in the house, which we are planning on building a studio here within the house within the next 6 to 8 months. We've both been super busy, so it's not happened as quickly as we want it. But sometime here in the next few months, my goal is to have the layout of it built out on paper. So we can, we have to re-permit the house for it because there's portions that we probably have to change wiring because we have to have a couple of ceiling outlets and stuff like that. So we're gonna map it out, make sure everything is on paper correctly, and then we're gonna build it out. It's just another project to add to the list. So yeah, gear wise, we have quite a bit of stuff. We're thinking like tens of thousands of dollars worth of camera gear that me and my dad shoot on. And the reason why is just simply you can get good quality content on something like this, because it's not about what you're shooting it on. It's sometimes just about the story itself. But when you're coming down to it, working with clients that are expecting the best quality, they are looking at the quality of the content in the sense of story and in the sense of what the subject line is, but they're also considering how it looks. Which is why I've shot a lot of things lately on his camera, which is the Nikon Z9. And we've just kind of come into agreement, as long as I'm taking care of the gear and making sure that maintenance is done proper on it, we have no problem, so on and so forth. If I get a big job that pays me a lot more, I will throw him a few bucks, because, you know, it's just fair, you know, kind of lease to buy type situation, without fully buying it out, because we'll still both use it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is not that Z9, right?
No, this is not that Z9. That is my Nikon Z6 that I took to Reno. A lot of people were nerve-wracked over this picture, and also while I was walking around in Reno. I do this just to have like the fun and joke of like, I don't think anybody will ever understand why I do this. So I'll walk around and you'll see me kind of like put it on my head, and I'll walk around and I'll have it on my head while I'm walking, and I'll do it mostly whenever I need to look at my phone. I hate camera straps, actually. Like, hate them with a dying passion. I use one with my dad's camera that we share, the Z9, simply because of the fact that it's way too much money to do that with. Point blank period. Never would.
Sure.
With that one, it's like, okay, this is, if it falls, like, I'm okay replacing this one. 100%. But I also don't do it in a sense of like, I'm not running around, I'm not being crazy. Like I'm sitting on my head, I'm being like super attentive of how my head moves, but I'm also like checking my phone. I'll get emails, calls at points where I just have too many things in my hands. But yeah, no, that picture was great. Big shout out to Kimberly, who took that picture of me at Reno.
Yeah, and to be fair, you in the social post you did say in big letters, "Don't try this at home."
Yeah, please don't try this at home. Everybody, like, so serious. Do not try this at home.
Yeah. You sent a video over, and I want to know before I play it out, is this the type of video that I should play out like I did the last one with us on the side, or is this just sound full?
It has music to it.
Yeah,
we can do it either way. Honestly, we could be on the side. You could put it up as a full screen thing, just to give some essence to what this video is to the people.
Yeah.
Here recently, I have made friends again, like I mentioned, with JG here in the chat, which is Jordan and his girlfriend. And Jordan is a DJ along with a personal trainer. As I met him, I started hanging out at places that he DJs from time to time, and it looked like a really good time. He plays at a couple smaller places, but he's also played at some other bigger places that I now work with on a regular basis. And he introduced me to this guy named Ari D'Israeli, which I have to give a shout out to Ari as well. Ari runs a company here in DFW called Dallas is Top Notch. Basically, his main goal is to help DJs get more gigs across the board, across the entire Dallas nightclub scene. And I met Ari at this event that we actually have coming up another time here in the next week. Next week on the 20th, it's called the Good Side Pizza Party. It's basically a pizza parbub where you have, I think this next week we have 12 DJs on a rotation. It's all house music, and it's all DJs mixing live the whole entire night. Pizza specials, drink specials. It's a really good time. This whole entire place gets packed. It's a free cover, so you don't have to pay to get in. You can come in, hang out, not buy anything, and you're there. That's it. Simple as it gets. You get to enjoy the experience. Or you can choose to have a drink, buy a pizza. Pizza's great. The food is great in this place. All the staff is super nice. Everybody's been super nice ever since I met everybody. And I'm really thankful for Ari. He's allowed me to basically follow him around in this last couple months and film content at all these exclusive clubs and exclusive places. And the clubs are super nice. All the people that I've met in the clubs, between bottle service girls, bartenders, security staff, management staff, have all been super great. Actually, just while we're on this call, I am seeing text messages from one of the guys that runs one of the clubs called the Ruby Room and Greenlight Social Club. He's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow night? I need somebody here to shoot video content. I said, I will be there very quickly. So big shout out to Ari. Again, the nightclub scene has been a little bit crazy. I've had a couple long nights, a couple of really fun nights, and a couple of maybe not so great nights. But all in all, it's been a phenomenal time. Everybody's super nice, as I mentioned over and over again. The places that I kind of frequent, for those that are interested in knowing that information, will be Greenlight Social Club in Dallas, Texas, Select Star Arcade and Bar, Shot Topics, Rodeo Dallas. We'll also see Komodo Dallas, which is like a restaurant, and it also has a nightclub upstairs. If you've never been to Komodo, the Komodo restaurant is actually amazing. It's pricey, but it's amazing. There's also Bottle Blonde, Citizen, Friends Only, Sporting Club. There's basically like this one street that just has 20 or 30 nightclubs, and they're all super packed all day, all night. And it's been a lot of fun. I've shot a ton of content in all these places. You'll see primarily the stuff that I've uploaded on social media in this video. And I think it goes like, we start with a little bit of Reno, then we go into nightclub, and then we come back to some bowling, I think, at one point, but it's mostly nightclub stuff. I don't have a ton of bowling footage I can use just yet. I have NCAA footage, but there's a couple rules that I have to follow with that, and I'm waiting to see what I can use and what I can't. I had to email a couple of schools, email a couple of teachers and coaches. So once I get that information, I'll just know. But most of those videos will also get out to players before that happens. That way they can post them if they want to, because they can post anything they want, obviously. Right. So if you want to roll it, roll it.
Yeah, I'll put up the sound, and hopefully this works out the way that you intended. So there you have it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that's been a little bit of life lately. Obviously, Reno, and then we came back and we did some of the nightclub stuff. The guy holding up the drink with the pinky up, that's Ari. It's been super nice. Again, it's been interesting because you never realize how much happens in some scenes until you get into them.
Sure.
But I think it's been a breath of fresh air because we have so much negative in the world, and you would think, oh, nightclub scene, there's probably like a bunch of fights and this and the other. It's like complete opposite. Everyone is super nice. Everyone is super welcoming. Everyone is like, are you good? Do you need anything? Like, I will be in the middle of the club, like holding up the camera in the middle of like 400 people, and security will see somebody bump into me, and they'll like walk over and be like, hey, spread out, give them some room. I'm like, that's just crazy. It's crazy to me, just in general.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been extremely, extremely nice.
Yeah. Larry says, Patrick, do you feel like moving into different industries keeps the productions exciting? Does multidiscipline work help all fields? Also, congratulations starting your own company, Fef. Thank you, Larry. But that's a good question. I mean, we talked about the potential blurring of the lines between entertainment and work. And really, no matter what we do, we all got to keep it fresh, right?
Yes. I think moving into the DJ scene, nightclub scene here in Dallas has helped me reinvigorate what I do with creativeness in my video work. Because with bowling, there's really only, unless you're planning a shoot in a closed environment. But like, I just like live events. So like live events and bowling, it's all the same angle. And maybe a couple different things, but that's about it. You normally get bowler throwing the ball, bowler sitting in the pit, bowler sitting in the crowd, bowler talking to ball rep. So going into the nightclub scene and the DJ scene, it's allowed me to just creatively have a little bit more fun with it. As I mentioned, I'll walk around in the club where everybody's dancing and stuff, and I'll film people dancing. I'll film people interacting with the camera. I'll take pictures for people. I'm up at the DJ booth a lot. Taking pictures from multiple angles up there and videos from multiple angles up there. and just having a good time. And we're just like, it's just a matter of keeping it fun, right? But at the same time, it's allowed me to know and understand music better, know and understand the scene and the crowd, which is something that we don't have when it comes to bowling. In bowling, it's just like ball goes down the lane, hits the pins, clap, everybody walks back.
Yeah.
Simple as it gets. In the club scene, the DJ is working to basically see how the crowd is feeling and see what they're doing and trying to get them to move their body more. So I'm like slowly but truly learning like more and more music theory and understanding why he's choosing the songs that he chooses. And he explained this to me one night. Ari goes, I go, can we play this song? I have an idea for a video. And he's like, this is not really the place for it. I was like, why not? He's like, well, look in the room. Who do you see? And the room is in Komodo. So it's a little bit more of a chill spot. Like it's a darker scene, but it's filled with 70% females. So you got to think, what songs are girls going to like in that moment? And I just realized that we'd played like 2 or 3 of the girls will sing top of their lungs in karaoke night songs.
Sure.
And I was like, this makes more sense now.
Yeah.
So he's taught me a few things. I actually am going to learn. Here, give me one sec.
Yeah.
DJ the Cloud is going to come out at one point or another. So he let me borrow this, and every night I kind of spend about an hour just playing around with it and learning how to mix.
Yeah, don't put that on your head. Unless you have, oh no. Oh no. Ari, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
he's probably watching this and laughing actually. But yeah, no, so he's teaching me how to DJ a little bit. Like I'll come up now in the middle of the night while he's DJing and he'll see me and he'll be like, this right here, and he'll tell me what buttons to click and what to do. He'll also start teaching me like what these certain knobs do and how to manipulate the songs and how to do the things and like what songs sound best transitioning to others. So we're learning a little bit of that. We're also learning how to use music better on video. And it's been a lot of fun. It just kind of, again, it reignited the bowling. Like just creating videos for bowling now, like I'm looking at them in a different perspective. So the videos that I have coming up in bowling when it comes to the stuff that I took at NCAA event, and the stuff that I took in Reno, I'm probably going to make some edits for those and publish them around the stuff that I have going out for the nightclub stuff, and just have a little bit of a different spice to what I've posted previously. Because obviously I've done some really great stuff, but I've never thought about it with the things in mind that he's taught me and other people have taught me in the DJ scene.
Sure.
So it's definitely keeping things fresh and keeping things a little bit more on the spicy side versus here's the same thing that we've been seeing in bowling over and over again. So it's been nice. It's hard because now going back and forth, I have to think, I have to keep this set of rules for this and then this set of rules for that. But I think it allows me to find the proper mix of what needs to go in either direction. So like for the DJ scene, I'm incorporating some of the stuff that I've learned in bowling. For the bowling stuff I've learned, or for the DJ stuff, I put some of that stuff into bowling. So trying to be better about that. It is a blurry line, but it's one that as I do it more, it's become clearer. Yeah. It's like trying on glasses or like being at the eye doctor and you go like A and B, 1, 2, and so on and so forth until you get the right measurements. It basically what it feels like.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's cool because like you said, if I shoot it the same way as you shoot it, the same way as Ben shoots it, and
the same way as Curtis and everybody else, it's just going to be the same thing. We have to change bowling content, and the only way that happens is by doing it differently. Yeah. As simple as it gets. That's why Jesse and Darren's Chang channel is so popular, is because they don't make bowling videos like anyone else.
Right.
That's why Packy is so popular, because the stuff that he does on his channel are not like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think as people make different content and incorporate their own style to their bowling content, it's just going to take bowling to another level. But it's just a matter of doing it. Simple as it gets.
Yeah. And a lot of people I tell, when I talk about video, you don't need to be Michael Jordan to play basketball, right?
Nope.
I mean, just because you haven't done this for 20 years doesn't mean you can't. Mm-hmm. It just means you do it differently and you learn and you improve and you grow.
Yeah, I tell that to anybody that asks me. I have plenty of people that'll ask me now, hey, I want to get into videos. I don't know how to use a fancy camera or this and that. I was like, this is how it started.
You
right
have
here.
a fancy camera.
You have a fancy camera. You pay $1,200 for one of these.
Yeah.
Use it. And then when it comes to editing, they're like, yeah, but I just don't know how to edit. I'm like, you open the phone.
Yep.
You open the application that comes on your phone to edit the pictures already and videos already.
Yep.
You just delete the portions you don't need. Then you put that into whatever social media platform, and then you put a song on it on that social media platform. Keep it simple.
You make
all
it
you have to do.
so easy.
Like, it's so simple. Film it, cut the back and the front, post it. Done. That's it. I tell most people that's how it started for me. I posted simplistic stuff. I didn't get into fancy editing until I picked up a nice camera and I wanted to learn how to edit on my own.
Yeah.
And I did that solely because I was tired of having to upload footage every night. So I filmed the stuff. I would edit one video, but I would also upload other stuff to the guy that was doing it previous. That way I could start learning, and that way I could put myself through that process. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of things online to be able to learn how to edit. I use a website called Udemy to be able to learn a bunch of stuff whenever I need to like in-depth learn things. If not, if you see a cool transition on a video, or you see somebody making the colors on a video look different, you could probably just Google how to make the colors on a video look like this.
Yep.
Or how do I make a transition that looks like this?
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Oh my God. The amount of things I've learned with ChatGPT in the last 6 months, hilarious. So I tell most people, YouTube it, Google it. There is plenty of resources. Everybody can do this. It honestly just comes down to how much effort you want to put into it and how much time you have to put into it. Because I can tell you right now, I will sit here after this conversation and I'll spend the rest of the night editing pictures and video. Because that's basically all I do all night. If I'm not at the club, I am sitting here. And even at the club, there was one night that I was sitting behind Ari while he was DJing, and we had a full table sitting behind us in the DJ booth. And I was sitting at the table with those people, editing away at video. They were getting bottle service. I'm sitting here with headphones and editing video. And Ari was like, are you just really just going to sit there? I was like, absolutely, because I'm getting work done.
Yeah.
So.
But listen, we all know you don't have the time for that. You know, those of you in YouTube land, and you can, you know, if you're under the black line, you can, you know, hire the cloud. And if you're above the black line, you can hire me, because this is, you know, we do this for money, and you know, Ben's and Wasa.
Yeah, no. If anybody ever needs anything, if you want to put up the one graphic with all my information, feel free to reach out on social media. That is all my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Obviously, I was kind of afraid whenever TikTok went down for 12 hours, but obviously it's back. That is my cell phone number, like the one that I am holding in my hand currently. So feel free to text me. If you try to call me, it goes straight to voicemail. Just FYI for everybody. And then my business email, patrick@thecloudmediaproductions.com. And eventually I'll have an actual The Cloud Media Productions website, which is currently in the works. There's some features that I want to incorporate that just don't exist currently. So I'm talking to some software developers to see how they can do it. So yeah, anybody needs anything, please feel free to reach out. Everything that I'm doing currently is case-by-case scenario. So I don't have a set price list for anything. It just depends on workload versus who you are and how much you need.
Even if I call you, it's going to go straight to voicemail?
Yeah. No, you're in here. You're saved on my phone.
Oh.
It's the do not disturb feature. It's the best feature that exists on iPhones, actually.
So I've got kind of the cheat code into...
Yeah, you have the cheat code. There's a list of, I think, 120 people that have the cheat code currently. But only 120 people out of the many that we know I know.
I promise not to abuse it much.
Abuse it all you want. You can call at any given time.
All right, I tell you what, we're past an hour now. Take a look at this.
Let's go off the sheet. Challenge a bowler to appear on a future episode.
I would like to challenge Will Madison.
I would say Diana Zavulova.
The Better Russo, Lauren Russo.
We're looking for anyone who has a passion for the sport and a unique story to tell.
Well, I know you've got a name or names for me, because we kind of talked about that before we went on live. So, Patrick Martinez, who would you like to challenge to be on a future episode of Bowling with the Fef?
So I want to challenge probably my biggest mentor and probably one of my closest friends in the bowling industry. He has been existential in my growth in the last 2 years, giving me a lot of tough love, giving me a lot of advice, giving me a lot of things to think about as I'm growing. Even gave me a ton of things to think about as I develop this company. And as I do the things that I'm doing now, we talk just about every day. I am going to challenge the owner of BowlStream TV, Emil Williams Jr., also known as the voice of the PWBA, and the owner of the Bang. Nobody can do Bang better than Emil Williams Jr.
Can I tell you, before you go on to, before you finish this part, I did reach out and I asked him, to react to all this. He said, like many of us, Patrick's talents go beyond bowling, but we love the game, so we pour into it. It was only natural for him to seek out additional opportunities for himself and his brand as he continues to grow as a person and a professional. Can't you just picture him saying that out loud?
He said that a few times to me. He's probably the person that makes me the most emotional when it comes to everything that we do. We finished off the tour championships last year, and he does this thing where he gives out cards and notes and stuff at the end of the season to like the crew, because sometimes people just forget about us. It's simple as it gets. But he goes around, he gives us a bunch of cards. He handed me mine and said, "Don't open it till later." I opened it in my hotel room, and I was hanging out with a certain person at that time, and I cried for an hour, like just straight up cried, because he wrote it after we got done with the final round of match play. And there was one specific game, which was the what's it called?
Position round?
Position round. Yes, the position round just before going into the TV show. Obviously, there was a lot going on in that TV show at Tour Championships for the Women's Tour. A lot on the line, a lot of all the Player of the Year stuff, on top of, headlines that could possibly break bowling, some names that haven't been on TV now making a major show, so on and so forth. And I knew that for a while, that would be the last time that I produced the live show for a good portion of time. So I put on my serious face. I threw my phone in my backpack. I polished my glasses. I drank a coffee, had my hat backwards. My eyes were locked into like 2 or 3 different screens. And the whole entire time behind the scenes, I am just directing where I'm going and talking about what's happening on every screen possible. I'm like scrolling through everything, talking about everything in their ear, and as they're actively talking on air. So I'm feeding them information and I'm running the show to a degree that I hadn't done yet. And they had already given me my kudos of like, "Patrick, you're producing great." But that day set a different bar to reach for. And he just reminded me that I have to keep doing what's best for me and to keep reaching for the highest level that I possibly could. So once again, super thankful to Emil. He's just family. That's it. He's just family.
Yeah. Are you shedding tears now?
Just a little bit. Just a little.
Okay. It's okay.
He's like one of the very few that can get me going.
Right. Yeah. No, we're a safe space for that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Emil, we've brought this to, we've suggested this before.
Yeah.
And now, he's essentially stamping it, putting it in print. You've been challenged.
Yep. Emil,
what's your move?
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And he has a couple of things that I'm sure he'd love to talk about here soon. We've talked quite a bit while we've been both working behind the scenes. So I know he has some projects that he's working on. I'll let him come to light with those, but I think this is the right space for him, especially knowing the fact that he would probably enjoy being on the show.
Yeah.
So Emil,
so
it's your turn.
Yeah. Come on, Emil. You want deep down. I know he plays it off like no, that's not. But I think he wants to.
He's super humble. I'm telling you, it's great.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
We're a safe space for that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Humility. It's like my middle name, right? And that's it. That's your off the sheet challenge. You have one name and that's it, or did you?
Yeah, I won't challenge the other one. The other one will eventually get challenged by somebody. Who knows? Maybe Emil challenge the other one.
Could be.
Could be.
Okay. I do want to mention that the next show is a tournament live stream Saturday, February 22nd, 10 a.m. at Bullwinkle's. I'm telling you, it gets really crazy if I make the top 8, because then I got to set this all up and find somebody else to do the commentary. Yeah. Yeah. We could, it's only 8 guys. Maybe we could hype you in and
Yeah,
Maybe do that. I don't know.
Never know.
Let's see.
I'm available.
Honestly, I'll probably just set up the mic and throw one of my degenerate friends behind it, and you know.
You can always find live wireless controls.
That's true. That's true.
I may have a solution or two for that.
I don't trust myself though. It's hard enough to bowl, without thinking about that.
Imagine.
It's
I've tried
so
bowling and filming a video at the same time. It's not very fun. All the bowling vlogs, all done by myself. No, those are tough.
That's
very,
hard,
very tough
when you have the live element.
Yeah.
Kristen did say, sorry, I'm late to the stream. Just wanted to say hope all is well with you guys. And I'm loving the PBA so far this year.
Absolutely. I actually been watching the PBA pretty heavy on BowlTV. It's been keeping me entertained as I kind of click around and do my editing work for the day.
Yeah.
So definitely big supports of the PBA guys this year, especially because of all the names. Again, the names it's a long list of a lot of good talent that hasn't been seen before. And now we have them on the spotlight. So definitely the year to watch for sure, especially with 4 weeks of Reno, Nevada coming up. Can't miss out on that.
Can't miss it. No,
not at all.
We'll be watching. Patrick, thank you so much for the time.
Of course.
Really appreciate having you on. And best of luck with the cloud.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, all the best to you with that. Everyone, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next.
Thank you for watching Bowling with the Fef. Pound the like button and subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Bowling with the Fef is brought to you by Chip Magnet. Raise your snack standards.
Jerry's Score More Bowling Supply inside Wagner's Lane. So Eau Claire, Wisconsin area's leader in bowling products and services since 1988. And Visionary Video Hub. Video with impact.
Email bowlingwiththefef@yahoo.com with questions or to appear on the show. You can also reach out on your favorite social media platform.